8 people here, so we'll go with it, and hopefully other people will chat. So I want to just do a quick stream right now to first just do a quick stream of what you can do with Behind the Net, because I feel like there's been a bunch of primers on what you can do with that extra skater, which is nice and good. You need to know that. But what's important here isn't just what you can do without extra skater there. Hi, Manny. But even with extra skater around, Behind the Net still has some features which people tend to ignore because it's a bit hard to use, and extra skater couldn't quite match it yet in customization, which it might have been able to, but now that's not happening. And while there will hopefully be a few sites that replace extra skater, so I'm told, odds are they're not going to have customization that high on the priority list either. So, because customization isn't exactly the biggest friend of user interface. And Behind the Net doesn't really care that much about user interface. Could be worse, though. So anyhow, so this is Behind the Net right here. It's behindthenet.ca, as I'm sure you all know. BTN, as it's sometimes called, is useful because BTN was the original big advanced stats site. So that and stats.hockeyanalysis.com, which is a bit more self-explanatory. Now BTN is basically got every player, though it's got some issues, and how it displays them. Every player over the last, I think it's 08-09 is the first, no, it's 07-08 is the first season that Behind the Net has, because that's the first season when the play-by-play data started showing who's on the ice at each time. So that's what we call the Behind the Net era because of it. And Behind the Net has pretty much most of the fancy stat things you want. The one thing it doesn't have, which is notable and what you should use Hockey Analysis for, is WOWIes, with or without you stats. Behind the Net doesn't have that, so that's what you'll be using that. That's what you should be using that mainly for. The stats of Hockey Analysis and some other useful stuff. But relative Corsi, which you should know from Extra Skater, first was seen here. Quality of competition, again, first was here. Quality of teammates, actually like Hockey Analysis better, but was first here, and so on and so forth. And so what I want to do, and I think I'm just going to full screen this for now. I'm going to move this right here for now, because I will take away the heroes for now. So anyhow, yeah, perfect. So when you go to Behind the Net, and this will be about 20 minutes, and then we'll talk more Islanders and other analytic stuff if others have questions, is when you go to Behind the Net, you click on Advanced, for example, here on the bottom. That's what I always click on first. I actually have it saved what I want, but Advanced is a good place to start. So you click on Advanced, and you come to this screen. It sorts by Corsi on, so this is just Corsi differential per 60. Now it sorts with no filters here, so this is mainly guys with like 1 game sample sizes. So this guy, who I've never heard of, who played 3 minutes last year, is the best player in the NHL in Corsi. Hooray! He doesn't really care. What's great about Behind the Net is that you can, like you can see on certain other sites with other sports, you can filter what stats you want to see up here. So right now the advanced one gives you time of ice, Corsi relative quality of competition, Corsi quality of competition, relative Corsi, Corsi per 60, which is Corsi on, your on-ice shooting percentage, your on-ice save percentage, PDO, penalty differential, zone starts, and zone finishes. So it's got most of what you'd want right now in just a quick statistical profile of a player. But you see right here in the blue corner, top right corner, it has what's called more filters. And clicking on that brings up these things. What these are is just twofold. One, it allows you to filter things. So, for example, say I want to, this is all any sample size. If I want to make it so that I want to see people who only played 13 games or more, I can go 13 where it says GP, it's games played, and hit update results. And now I've got the same stats, but only people who played 13 games, and now you've got Anze Kopitar in second, and Jeremy Morin in first. Okay. Again, small sample size. But, so this is the easy part, the obvious part here. You can put down any filters in here. You can also put down ranges. So if I want to put players who played 13 to 25 games, I can do that. And now I won't have anyone over 25 games. So Mr. Morin, again, very happy with that. Just as much as putting filters in. Again, the filters are really cool and really useful here because you could put multiple in. So with Extra Skater, you could sort of change the amount of games played, but it was tricky. You have to do it by percent. Here you can change basically everything. So I'll show you that in a second. But so this is the other part right here. This is the numbers right here. What they are is showing you what stats you're using. These numbers each correspond to the numbers on here. So it says, right now we're showing 0, 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, yada yada. So 0 is rank, as in the rank according to that, whatever is being sorted. 1 is what season it is. So you can compare multiple seasons with BTN, which you couldn't with Extra Skater. 3 is name, 5 is team, etc., etc. Now you may want to change that. So for example here, this is telling me guys from 13 to 25 games, but doesn't tell me who's played what. So I wanted to add games played. So I go up here, games played is 7. So I add +7, so now I'm adding 7 in here. And let's say I want to add quality of teammates as a measure, because I do want to measure that. So we have 2 here, Corsi relative quality of teammates, or just Corsi quality of teammates. I'm going to use the Corsi quality of teammates. There's an issue with that one, so I'm going to add that right here. And, I've got one that I will never use here. I'm never going to use zone finishes, which is what opposite zone finishes are. So I'm going to delete that, which is 67. So I go like this, and I hit update results. I got rid of my games played filter for a second. So it's a little bit buggy sometimes. And then when I hit update results, it sometimes doesn't filter it. So right here is this is the problem here, buggy with it. So I just did what should have fixed it, and it didn't. So there's an easy solution to that. See what's up here in the URL? That's the same numbers, and those are the ones we correspond to. So again, we want games played, so +7. I can't do that. We want quality of teammates, so we're going to put in +16. That's what quality of teammates is. And we want to get rid of zone finishes. And now we have that. We have a quality of teammates measure. We have our games played. So yes, our guys up top here have played 1 game total. Quite useless. They suck. So again, we can filter that away. So let's, on Sanity, we'll put 40 games. Now one caution here with filtering. So this is one of the more notable bugs in here before we go any further. When you filter and you hit update results, or you hit update results anyhow, no matter what you do, okay? And this blue thing isn't up, so you haven't clicked the top right corner to hit more filters, it will often lose track of what stats you've put in there, what filters you've lost. So be careful about that. You can always choose back to get that in there. So here I've got players who played at least 40 games, their Corsi, their relative Corsi, a whole bunch of Kings, Patrice Bergeron on here. Now, here's what I love behind the net, and just here, is that these filters are, because you can compare multiple seasons, you can do things like you think of with hockey references or baseball references, play index. What I mean is that, let's say I want to find all seasons, in the behind the net era, of course, where players played 40 games, as a Corsi, relative Corsi of +10 or better. So this is +10 in shot differential. It's not percentage based, unfortunately. Did so with a Corsi itself of, let's say, +15. So that means they're 10 shots better than a team that was already good because they're 15. And let's say any season here. So, unfortunately, to put any season, you need to actually manually put all the seasons. And the seasons are done by, you see here, it's 2007 is by the year, the first year of it, and then _S. So, that's 08, this is 2008, 09. You get the point. It's very simple. S. So this will get me right. And let's say I want to do sub 50% zone starts. So I want to essentially see the best of my best Corsi players who also didn't have, slightly advantages with their zone starts. Okay, you're not going to get many players like this here. You can probably guess one of whom will show up, because... So here's a list of players who fit that criteria. I'm going to put the more filters up so I don't lose it. I have a total of... How many of you guys? I have a total of 12. 12 guys. I see I lost Manny. That's fine. Patrice Bergeron shows up, by the way, 4 times. He's very good at hockey. So again, here we have guys who have basically been on good teams, have been much better than their good teams, and have done so without incredibly sheltering zone starts. These are really good, and these are the seasons they've done it. And again, you can sort this is right now sorted by Corsian, but I've won 2 seasons. You can just see how many people did it in each season. So 08-09, Johan Franzen was the only one. 09-10, Bergeron. 10-11, Joe Pavelski and Torrey Mitchell, San Jose, wow. 11-12, Bergeron and Chara. 12-13, Bergeron and Pavelski again. And in this last year, you got Bergeron, you got Steen. So you can get basically. So the idea here is that you can basically filter anything here. I mean, well, that's just one way of doing it. Another way you can do this is basically get your player cards. You can do this actually by going to up top here. I don't know why it's lost, but you hit Find Player. But anyhow, let's say I want to compare, so I get in my filters here. Let's say I want to compare Travis Hamonic over his career, and let's say, let's say Ryan McDonough, not a bad defenseman. I'm not sure to spell McDonough right, but whatever. If I don't spell it right, by the way, it has to be all caps. Yeah, I'm not spelling McDonough right. Ryan McDonough. Oh, there's no U. That's why. So let me just quickly fix that. So now I'm comparing Ryan McDonough and Travis Hamonic. Arguably the top D-men for both the Islanders and the Rangers. So we can compare them in terms of... So now I've got all their seasons here. So here's the relative Corsies. You see Hamonic's had the worst season here. Also the best season. McDonough's probably a little bit better. You can add things here like points per 60, etc., etc. The whole thing here is that behind the net isn't very hard to use, and more importantly, unlike Extra Skater or whatnot, you can use it to make better comparisons. You can choose only the stats you want. You can choose only the players you want. Choose only the filters you want. It's really good. There's some problems with it. Any names that have a hyphen in it, like PMB, won't work. Can you guys not see this at all? I'm sorry. I'm trying to see how it comes out. The filter. No, it's okay. Good. Yeah. Any guy with anything other than a letter has issues. So Patrice, PMB, Marc-Andre Bergeron, etc., you can't do it. It will basically not allow you to filter by their names. They show up, but yeah. Also, famously, there's some hilarity in. Yeah, I know you're seeing this multiple times. Awkward. Anyhow, famously, you can. Famously, you can basically have certain players with names that aren't inputted correctly. So this is probably the most famous one and everyone's favorite. Did you fix it? Anyhow, Johnny Oduya used to be in as Johnny Oduya, which is pretty hilarious. Yeah. So anyhow, that's basically behind the net and how it works, which I think is pretty